Henry Kravis, thanks for joining us. How does 2011 look to you? An optimistic year or one that could have its hiccups?
Good question. 2011, in my view, on a global basis, will be better than certainly than 2008, 2009. If you believe that the global economy in part is driven by the U.S. is starting to show some recovery. It will go in fits and starts. We'll have a month or two that'll be good, maybe quarter or two that will be good. And then after that, there'll be some slowdown. So it's really right now a mixed bag. In my view, you're not going to have another financial crisis. I think that's behind us right now, particularly in the U.S. You still have some issues, question marks in Europe. Europe, of course, is really a bifurcated market. You have your southern countries that question mark, whether that be Greece, Italy, Spain, Portugal, and of course Ireland. As long as your growth continues, yes, everyone's looking for return. Everyone is looking for where to put it. Yeah. But what I'd like to see, which I think will help your country more than anything else and ensure that you have continued growth, is open up your markets more. For example, your insurance market, the limitation of 26% ownership, or certain limits on banks of 49%, or the telecom industry, etc., media. Opening those up will attract much more foreign direct investment. And that's the piece, in my view, that you have to focus on for sustained growth in this economy.
So do you feel at somewhere that the current euphoria that's chasing emerging markets, in particular India, is led by what is hot money or fast money coming in from the US or Europe for lack of opportunities elsewhere? And as a result, what we're seeing is probably slightly inflated expectations from the countries here?
I think that's right. I mean, I think it's a little of both. You have real growth here, okay? You can't deny that. There are companies that are growing, and they're growing 20-25% a year in their revenue line, and they're operating more efficiently than they did historically. But part of the flow of funds is always going to be, where else can I put my money? So if you have cross-border money coming in, the U.S. is very strong, and all of a sudden rates of return there are significantly better than they have been over the last few years, then money will tend to stay there or go there as opposed to come here. Doesn't mean it's going to stop coming here, yeah. But you will have more freedom, less risk potentially in some of the developed markets as opposed to the emerging markets. But there's no question in my mind, and I've been coming to India for a long time, starting in the late 80s, that the growth is real here. Yes, there's a lot of issues that you're facing. For example, I don't understand why your country doesn't have a better developed corporate bond market. Right. I've never known a country, no matter where it is, that will show sustained growth over a long period of time without very deep and very broad capital markets.
They're just beginning to talk about putting that in place now.
Yes, and you have to do that. I mean, that's very important. Don't worry about the crowding effect of the public sector debt. There's enough. If you open up your markets for more ownership of the insurance companies, more or less regulation on the pension funds.
Some of the issues that you mentioned, now I do know that you've been meeting with Kapil Sibal or even P. Chidambaram for that matter. What is it that you get a feeling about India this time? Because you've arrived when we have been in the thick of scams, alleged corruption cases. What does this mean from a global standpoint as you see India?
Look, I can't really comment on that. There clearly are issues that your country is facing, that Parliament is facing right now with these. Developing countries have issues, and they're always going to be, and they're going to be in fits and starts. Hopefully, as a foreign investor, and we put a lot of money into your country, and we will continue to put money into your country, we hope that this will be something that will be tackled, and it'll be tackled very aggressively.
You see that conviction. That's the important.
I hope so. I mean, I really hope so. I can't say that I see it yet. Depends who I talk to. There's a lot of hope. And there's now maybe the desire to tackle some of these issues that are facing your country. But you have to do it, because at some point, if you don't, and it continues to get worse, then you will affect foreign direct investment.